Hey everyone, my special guest today is coming at you live from South Africa. Hello, Ryan Kruger, filmmaker.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, mate, I'm doing very well. It's absolutely, really sort of an honor to meet you because just in this day and age, to get a movie made, well, funded and made, and then edited and then out into the world isn't that easy. But you've managed to do it not just with this one that we're going to talk about, but your previous film, Fried Barry, got a pretty big audience, and it's not the type of movie that I would think would get a big audience, but it did.
Yeah, I think I always say like if any movie that gets made today is a miracle. It's a miracle that any movie's actually made and comes out. And I think I think it's easier now to make content because of the cameras that we have, but to actually get your film out there and people actually to hear about it and know what it is another thing. So yeah, so I've been very lucky with Fry Barry and Street Trash for it to get out there so much and have this following like all around the world, which has been awesome.
Well, you're right because you like Ridley Scott. I remember him saying it at some point a couple of years ago. Get out there and you can make your own movie. The technology's there, but there's one thing about making a movie, but getting it distributed or eyes on
Exactly.
it because there's so much competition.
Yeah. Yeah. There's too much content, like every platform now. I think that you remember on movies and stuff you would hear that you'll never work in this town again. That doesn't exist anymore, I think, because there's so many companies from all around the world and so many independent companies that that make content. So it's not just the big studios that run everything these days. You know what I mean? So there is so many companies that you'll get named actors in these
Yeah.
uh, TV series that are the companies aren't like major.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good safeguard for a big name star to drop their fees or whatever they do to be in lower budgeted television shows or indie projects. Personally, I think that's great for the filmmakers as well.
Yeah, I think every now and then you do get those actors that that really do enjoy the art house films or the indie films, and
Yeah.
some of those big actors do will take part in those films, and
Yeah.
every now and then there's a bit of an A-lister that will do it every now and then,
Yeah.
and then they make sure that they also have the 50 million blockbuster like the next day or something like that. But yeah, I think there's a new wave of like independent cinema coming again, like it was in the 90s. I just think there's with this whole horror thing now and going back to like prosthetics and stuff like that. We're in this it's great to be a part of this like new wave coming out.
I'm assuming that your current movie that we're talking about that's on release, Street Trash, did a majority of that budget? I'm guessing it was a micro budget or a very low budget. Did that basically go into effects more than anything else?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we had a decent budget. For me, it was like my first like decent budget. But at the same time, with any budget you get, each you can have a film that has six different budgets. Same film, just six different budgets. How you going to make it? You can make it like this, or you can make it like that. You can make some sacrifices. You can be more comfortable. You can eat well, or maybe eat not so good, but then put it more into the film. Have a smaller crew, have a bigger crew. Um, but yeah, I think with this film, as always, I want to stretch the budget and make it bigger and better, and really show what I'm capable of and what I can do. A lot of this budget did go into prosthetics and the action sequences and the gore, because that's such a obviously a big part of this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess you've been asked this before, but was it something you always wanted to do? Revisit the classic street trash? I mean, that's a grindhouse movie that not everyone has seen, but genre aficionados, mostly love it. But that's a big call to actually either remake it or reimagine it, whatever you want to call it. Was it something that was brought to you, or was it a project that you've always wanted to do?
Yeah, it was a project that was brought to me. I never would have even thought I would do something to do with street. And
Yeah,
I love my 80s cinema. Like that's my favorite.
yeah,
Films like Street Trash, I did grow up on and have that VHS or watching it at like 1 in the morning with my friends.
yeah.
Um, so it was always the thing. But yeah, I never would have imagined doing anything um, for this film. But when I was approached, obviously I knew the film straight away, and just to do a movie in that world, and straight away, I wanted to make it a loose sequel. We even mentioned the '87 movie in this movie,
That's right.
and for fans like myself of the original, I think there's plenty of nods there, but it's in that same world, just later on.
Were there directives from the producers or the companies like, I don't know, Vinegar Syndrome and so forth, who might have put money into this movie? Were there directives that things you had to do, or was it basically make the gross factor high and go for it?
Yeah, it was really I was kind of left to just to do my own thing. And
Okay.
because I was a fan of the original, they kind of knew, my style. And because of Fry Barry, obviously they needed to see the script, but they were very
Yeah.
happy with the script. And again, it's all about getting the right people I mean, at the same time, we shot it on 35 millimeter. I mean, I never thought I would shoot a feature on 35. So yeah, to shoot a movie on 35 and shoot a movie with that much prosthetics, I never thought I would do. And it was a lot of fun. It was a hell of a lot of fun.
I'm guessing Fried Barry wasn't shot on 35.
No, no. So Fry Barry was digital, and the thing was
Yeah.
with Fry Barry that was completely independent. So I shot Fry
Yeah.
Barry. Uh, I think it was 28 days over a year and a half. So it took time, but that was my first movie, and it had to be done. And we did have. I would say we didn't have a budget for that, but the budget we did have was, I paid out of my own pocket, and hence why it was over such a long period of time. But again, it was, some days we would have small crew members, and other days we would have bigger crew members and passionate people that
Yeah.
would get on board. But even with Street Trash, it was my first film with a major budget, and we had a huge crew to make this film,
Yeah.
but it was also great to have that as a director, to have that support and have all the things and toys and stuff that I needed to make the film. But I still, at the same time, I think there's nothing wrong with making a film like Fried Barry, um, even if you have to do it every now and then, or even just to keep it low budget with a small group of people. That's also
Yeah.
fine. I don't mind that whatsoever. My background, I started off with music videos. So I don't mind a
Okay.
small crew. To get things done, to move on. Sometimes when you've got a big crew, takes long, everything takes longer.
Yeah, I can imagine. And with this movie, everything I'm guessing had to be tight. Were you on a very like low schedule of filming shooting days?
Yeah, we shot about, I think it was 4.5 weeks.
Yep.
Uh, I think we had 2 weeks night shoots as well,
Yep.
which a lot of people don't like night shoots. I love night shoots, so it was fun. Fine. But yeah, it's like with any movie, you got that schedule and you got to do it. The prosthetics obviously was very hard
Mm,
to do
mm.
because we're also shooting on 35. So every time we do a big melt, we have two cameras at the same time shooting, so we can get exactly, all the bits, and it's just like breaking it down. So it's
Yep.
like, okay, we're going to concentrate on his wrist, and then we're going to concentrate on his leg, then we're going to concentrate on his neck and this and that, and it just it just takes time. And for that actor wearing all the prosthetics, like it was winter, it was cold. You've got all this goo running down them. It was hard. It was hardcore for them.
So there's no room or much margin for error. You had to trust your actors and trust the effects just to work when you needed them to work.
Yeah, I mean the other funny thing how to look at this film as well, the way we made it, because we were shooting on 35, we don't have the development, the city development here anymore in Cape
Yeah.
Town. So we would shoot 3 or 4 days, send the footage to be processed in England, and then a few days later it would come back. So we only saw the first footage we shot a
Yeah.
week later, and we would be like, "Oh, this is what we shot." So it was a crazy way. Like back in the day, it was the dailies. You could look at it and you could
Mm.
see what we shot, but it was just, yeah, we would have to wait over a week to get the footage back. But like with anything, again, you get the right, because that was worrying me originally. Because first I was like, yeah, yeah, let's shoot film. And then the longer I thought about it, was like, maybe we shouldn't shoot film. What if it doesn't turn out? What if it comes out or doesn't come out, or there's a line through it, and then we got to shoot again because that's budget, that's money.
Yeah.
But again, if you get the right people to do the right jobs, a camera loader, right DP that shoots on film, then it's all right. And we had a great team, and we had no problems, and everything came out perfect.
Speaking of the team, are they people that you've worked with before? And I mean, you obviously got friends and filmmaker buddies. That did you use them, or did you have a new production and team with you?
There was a hell of a lot of people that worked on Fry Barry that worked on this,
Yeah.
which is a lot of friends in the industry and stuff. And then there
Yeah.
was other people that I've wanted to work with for a while but hadn't, or I know them but I just haven't worked with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a good tight team, and again, I think anybody that watches this movie can see that it was a lot of fun to make this movie.
What about the locations? They looked pretty authentic to me, or were they sets, or did you dress up real streets? Tell me about them.
Yeah, so with a lot of the locations, I always try and find um the gritty, grimy for the stuff that I make. I always try and find locations that are, either abandoned buildings or old warehouses or factories. Uh, so yeah, we found a lot of cool locations, and then we dressed those on top of everything. But already they look grimy, and it was the same thing with Fry Barry. I think anybody that listen, South Africa, Cape Town is a very, very beautiful place, and how it's normally shown on film locally is always beautiful, and internationally with so many commercials that get shot here,
Yeah.
sometimes people shoot here and it looks like Italy or Spain or America, and everything looks beautiful. But I think anybody that watches Fry Barry or Street Trash, especially Fry Barry, people look and go, shit, I definitely don't want to go there on holiday, because it just looks grimy. But I just pick the dingy, dodgy looking places to give it that grit.
Would you say the South African film industry is thriving, or is it more or less rely on outside projects coming in rather than internal homegrown projects? How's the
Um,
industry?
Yeah, we are mainly a service country, so there's a lot of English and American stuff that gets shot here, but we do have our own industry,
Yeah.
but and it's probably better than it's ever been. So it is. We have a big Afrikaans market with TV series and films, so
Yeah.
they are slowly growing. But when it comes to genre cinema, we don't make a lot here at all. Like Fry Barry was the first of its kind in South
Okay.
African cinema. And it's the same with Street Trash. It's the first of its kind for South African cinema, because we just don't make these type of movies, which also makes it important because Fry Barry did really well overseas. And it's like with Street Trash, these type of films need to do well so other filmmakers like myself um, can make genre films, or at least investors can see from South Africa that, you know, these films can make money.
Yeah. How do you feel about reviews? Now, I think genre reviews from critics or so-called critics can be, you know, touch and go, and it's a matter of taste. But do you take much notice of negative reviews as opposed to positive ones? Like, how do you feel?
It's, you know what, it's one of those things where I remember, like, when Fry Barry came out, I read quite a lot of them, and then I would look at the stars, and I'd be like, okay, has 4 stars, or I'll give it a read. But it's I think Street Trash and Fry Barry, they're the type of films. It's either you get it or you don't. You either like these type of films or you
Yeah.
don't. And for me, like, just for example, for Street Trash, for we have 2 posters. I think the one poster that you've probably seen is that fluorescent goo and all that, and it's a cool
Yes.
poster. I love it. But I think Street Trash is more than that. You know, it's not just a goo melt film. You know, we have these fun-loving characters. We have this cool story. So I think sometimes when you have a poster like that, it actually narrows the audience, because even if you take the melts out of the movie, it's still a strong story, you know. And I think it's important to have a strong story, to have strong characters, and not just rely
Yeah.
on prosthetics. There's lots of prosthetics in it. It is really cool, but I think a lot of these type of films lack in either story or characters. So for me, it's important. But yeah, when it comes to reviews, it literally doesn't bother me. I know some people out there that really get annoyed by uh by reviews, but it's just a
Yeah.
matter of taste. You know, I've watched movies at the cinema. I come out and go, "Wow, that was great. That was such a good film," and then the person
Yeah.
next to me going, "Oh, I hated it." So it really just shows you what, and I love all genres. So it really just shows you, like,
Same.
what I've noticed with this film. There's a lot, like 50% of the original fans didn't think that they would like it and really loved it,
Yeah.
because what they found out that it was a loose sequel and not a remake, and they also saw that there's lots of nods and respect, and they saw that the movie was getting made by somebody that enjoyed the original and was a fan of the original. And then
Yeah.
there's a percentage of the original fans that liked some of the hardcore stuff that was in the original. I'm not going to mention what it is, but just like some, like, kind of out there stuff that you
Yep.
didn't need. And those type of people didn't like the movie. So it's funny how it you know, it charts up with the type of people.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of people that don't normally watch these type of films and absolutely loved it as well. And that's why I think when it comes to marketing, or when it comes to the trailer or the poster, you need to open it up a little bit more, because, you know, it's not just this, you know.
No, I agree. There's a fine line, and a lot of modern audiences, like a certain younger generation, they might not even go back to the original. This is a first for them, and the only one they know. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it works better that way too. But the fans of the original, of any movie that you're going to remake, they're gonna have gripes, and then whether they like it or not, that's not your problem,
Yeah.
I guess.
Uh, Yeah, there's a hell of a lot of people that don't even know what street trash is, that
Exactly.
never watch
Yeah.
the original. There's loads of people. There's people that maybe should know it if they like these type of films, that don't even know it around my age. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Like, so for the fans, it's a loose sequel. For an 18, 19, 20-year-old that knows nothing about the original, this can be a standalone film. And then maybe discover, oh, wow, this is actually a loose sequel. And then go back and watch the original, which is cool. And then
Mm.
it's the same with, you know, if they watch this and they go, oh, what else is this directed on? I'm starting to get lots of people go revisit Fry Barry that hasn't seen it. So it's a big circle, which is cool. It's a big circle that goes round. And if people are watching the original
Yeah.
Street Trash now because of this film, or watching Fry Barry because of this film, then that's awesome. It's great.
Yeah, I watched the original Street Trash and then yours back to back. And I thought that was a
Okay.
good way to do it, personally.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, it helped me with a lot of the references. And I thought I'd seen that original, but although it was in my collection, my physical media collection, I'd never actually watched it. I just,
Okay.
it sat there. So I'm really glad I watched it, thanks to you.
Uh, there you go.
You were mentioning the poster and the trailer and everything before. To me, that's really important with any marketing of whatever genre. Did you did you assist with the design of the posters, and did you help cut the trailer, or was that independent?
So the trailer I edited with my editor.
Good. Yeah.
So that was a very, very important thing.
Yeah.
Um, and then the poster, the executive producers, the producers, they got somebody to do that. But then on
Okay.
this side, did get another poster made again, just explaining that just so it's not just
Yeah.
gore, it's just a different poster, which I just think it just opens it up to a bigger audience. So because people could look at that poster and go, I don't want to watch
No.
that type of film. So, which is a big thing. It's first impressions. First impressions count. I remember, like in the '80s, as a kid, going to a video shop. I mean, it was a little bit different then, but I'd go to the video shop and you would just hire the movie because of the poster, and you never used to even look at the back and go, "Oh, that looks amazing. I want to go watch that."
That's
And you
right.
would, yeah,
Yeah.
because the artwork and stuff was great.
Yeah, well, I mean, streaming has changed a lot of that because you're looking at thumbnails and just your picture on your screen, and you can swipe. And if you're not attracted to that poster immediately, or an actor or something, more than likely, unfortunately, people go straight past it. And even when you're at the cinema now, most of them aren't even physical posters; they're digital posters that swap every 10 seconds or so.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's hard, but you've done well by producing those posters and the look of them both, because they're both counteractive to each other. I think it's good.
Yeah, I think things are just like things are just different now. If you don't go digging for stuff, I mean, people forget. Like you would have the VHS and you would have like 6 or 7 trailers before your movie, and you'd watch those
Yeah,
trailers
I
and
know.
watch them and you would know, okay, this is coming. And so if you
Yep.
don't go to the cinema now and see those pre-trailers, like you just have to obviously scroll through
Yeah.
Netflix, and the majority of the posters these days, everything looks the same. So there's always like
Mm,
that generic background where whether it's a forest or a city or a
true.
set like that, and there's everybody standing there doing this, doing
Yeah.
that, and doing all this
Or
stuff.
that.
Just yeah. So it's just it's pretty hard, and some of them don't even have trailers. And that's even worse because you're like, well, how the hell am I gonna know what this is? And then straight away it's like, pass, next one.
Mm,
And that's it.
mm. The cast. Did you handpick your whole cast, or did you have to have auditions? I know you've worked with some of them before, but I want to just make it known that the standout for me was Donna. Donna Cormack-Thomson. I think I'm saying her name
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah.
One of the few females in the movie, but a real standout in a pretty good ensemble all around. All very variable, different looking characters. But did you handpick them all?
Yeah, so again, a lot of the cast was from Fry Barry,
Right,
and then there
Barry.
was a number of people that I wanted to work with that I hadn't. Donna was one of them. Warwick Greer, the mayor, he was one of them. Um, and then there was
Yeah,
a Lloyd who played Vorse or Pap.
yeah.
So yeah, there was a small handful, and I think it was only those people that I mentioned auditioned, and that was it. Everybody
Okay.
else just the role.
Yep.
Um, and it was very hard to find Alex's role. And I looked at quite a few people, and there was just one person that I had my eye on. And then I just thought, I think Donna would be great for this, and let her audition, and we chatted, and then she was perfect, and she just had so much
She's
range
good.
She is. She's really good, and I think she's gonna go like really far. And she's really starting to climb that ladder. I think she was really like the heart of Street Trash, the heart of the movie.
Yeah,
Some people look at female parts in these type of films and just be
mm,
like, it is like she's just been stuck in there for whatever reasons. But she had the thing was around her. This
yeah,
story of, again, somebody else that has lost something and searching for something else, and then
yeah,
the gang find her and bring her in, and she's also ends up being a part of the family and a part of that circle. But you have
mm,
those really down to earth um scenes
yeah.
where you see that love and you see that care, and and she's great. She can do yeah, she has a big range. She's a great actress, and definitely want to work with her again.
Yeah, I hope you do, and I hope I see more of her because, as you say, it went from being sort of like a horror genre satire action movie to a little more leveled emotion side of her, and
Yeah,
it was a great balance, and it worked for the movie.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
I think throughout the movie, um, so I've got a dark sense of humor and a funny sense of humor, but there's everything I do, even with Fry Barry, there's a lot of heart in what I do. In every film, Fry Barry has a hell of a lot of heart, with his wife and how
yeah,
everything happened. And it was the same with this, where again, you want to care for these characters, and it's important, like Donna's character and Chef's
yeah,
character, all these people that come together, that when somebody does die, that you generally are like, oh no, like you care for them and you never thought this was going to happen. And I think it's important to get that. And what I normally do is, when something dramatic happens like that, uh, it happens, but we're shocked. Then it goes into this funny comedy thing, and then it goes back to being serious and having that heart, and then
yeah,
eventually ends up, fizzling out, and then going back to normal. But yeah, it's fun to have those beats, but also pull in the audience, get them to care, and then
yeah.
get them to like laugh and be like, "Oh, we didn't want him to die," or
I've got to ask because I noticed on the upcoming physical media special edition there are deleted scenes or extended scenes. I'm not positive on that, but is that because you needed to cut the running time down, or was the gross factor too high? You needed to sort of level it down a bit. What did you have to
uh,
cut out?
no, it was more, it's one of those things where, you write the script and you plan and then you shoot,
Yeah,
and then you start putting stuff together, and sometimes it's just you look at stuff and you're like, oh, this is ruining the pace, or it's like we don't need,
yeah,
we don't need the scene. It's funny, it's all right, but it's not adding anything to the film.
yeah.
I think there was probably like two, three, I'm gonna say clips and not scenes. There was two or three things
Right.
that I really probably wanted in the film, that I didn't put in there. This
Okay.
is my cut. This is the director's cut. But sometimes you make these decisions and you take little things out, and then there's other scenes where you're like, yeah, that didn't come across as much as I wanted it to.
Mm.
Uh, so there's some scenes there that were, but as a filmmaker, it's always cool to see what you cut out, and it's always cool still to have it and still to show it, and these things happen because when you put everything together, I mean,
Oh yeah.
everything's on the script. So sometimes when you make these films, you like just for example, there was this one scene in the film. It was the what is it, the sex drugs, no, sorry, the Sex Anonymous
Yeah.
group, and
Oh yeah.
that was a much bigger scene, and it was great, and it was funny, and it was so funny. But because it was a flashback in the movie, it had to be in and out. You had to be quick in and out. But as a whole, there was nothing wrong with the scene. It was really funny, and so that's on the deleted scenes. But it's sometimes it's just pace, and
Yeah.
you don't want to spend too much time there. But at least we don't lose it, and we still have it on like a Blu-ray, so which is cool.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Uh, do you like acting or directing better if you had a choice?
I'd probably go with directing, but I do love my acting. I always say like my directing career I can control. Yeah, my acting career is just like, you audition, you either get it or you don't,
Yeah,
and that's it. But I love acting, and it's made me a stronger director, and vice versa. It's just I love working with actors, and I think I understand actors really well because of that.
yeah,
And I'll never like choose. I'll always do both. But
yeah,
as a director, I can at least you know, I can control stuff and I can write content or do my own
yeah.
thing.
I don't watch. I mean, there's not a lot of South African movies that are available, to watch on a regular basis sometimes. But I did see The Fix, and I didn't realize until afterwards you were in The Fix. That was a pretty good movie.
Yeah, it was. I was just in a small, a very small role. I was like
Yeah,
I think it was, I was a photographer or something like that, taking
yeah,
pictures of the thing. But yeah,
yeah.
it's a lot of films don't come out of South Africa. A lot of films
No,
don't go further than that. So I mean, Fry Barry got 75 territories around the world. I think most South African films either don't leave South Africa or get about 6, 7 territories, and that's it.
yeah.
So Fry Barry did very well, and Street Trash is doing the exact same. So it's doing super well.
Well, keep up the good work, mate. Have you got any exclusives for me? What's next? You're working on a big studio picture, or are you being poached to go to Hollywood?
There's quite a few films in the bag right now that I'm looking at which one to do, and it
Yeah,
normally goes whether one investor could go, oh, we want to do this one. So I don't know which one's going to be first,
yeah,
but we're busy in the talks and waiting for that. And apart from that, um, I'm still big on my really independent stuff.
yeah.
So I've actually just shot. It's very much not like Fry Barry or Street Trash. It's called Starry Eyed. Also starring Gary Green, aka
Okay, yeah.
Fry Barry, and it's a black and white, gritty art house film about a weirdo that can't act, that wants to be an actor, and then goes full method and starts killing everybody. But it's a very gritty, arty film. It is what it is, but it's something cool and different to do on the side while I'm
Yeah.
waiting to do another like studio picture.
You've almost answered my final question to wrap it up. Are you prepared to maybe go off the charts into something non-genre? Like, would you do comedy? Would you be happy with a sci-fi or something like that, or do you want to stick to what you know? How adventurous would you be, do you think?
I'm really open. I love all genres. I do like the dark side of life and things, but I do love all genres. I mean, sometimes on a Sunday, you want an easy popcorn movie just to sit and relax. But I do
Yeah,
love all genres. So I'm very open to, I look at filmmakers like Danny Boyle. He does Train Spotting, he does 28 Days Later,
yeah,
he he does Sunshine. He does these great movies, and they're all different. So I would love, to do those different genres and have my own stamp on it.
yeah. I'm guessing you grew up. I know you went to the video shop, but did you go to the cinema as well? And you remember all those movies, and they just sort of banked up in your head, and you thought, "I want to
Oh,
do that
100%.
one day."
Yeah. The one thing about me is I've always known what I wanted to do. So I've never wanted to do anything else. So I've never kind of wasted time doing anything else on the side.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, watching those films with my dad and my family growing up, and going to the cinema. And I was very lucky. I used to have one of those like cinema passes, so I could just go to the cinema like so many
cool.
times. But yeah, it's always been a thing that I've always been into and done. And I think with I still remember mum and dad saying, you know, if acting doesn't work out, because I was an actor first, it's like, you know, if acting doesn't work out, you know, you should study something and just, you know, just in case, back up. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm gonna do acting. Yeah, but just in case, Ryan, you know, it doesn't work out. And then I was like, oh, I'll do directing. And they were like, we didn't mean like something in the same industry. We mean something completely
Of course,
different.
yeah.
And and then my directing took off. So it's like, and you know, just recently now, you know, I had the premiere of Street Trash at the Prince Charles Cinema in London, which was a dream that I've always wanted to you know, to screen there, and to have my mum come watch this
Wow.
movie, you know, on the screen. I was like, I was so happy just to be there because it was Prince Charles Cinema. It was a dream, but I was also just happy for my mum to be there and watch. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, this is what I do, and to realize, which she does realize also long ago, that I'm doing pretty well doing like filmmaking. I
Well,
don't I
yeah,
don't
you
have I don't
certainly
have to be
are.
a lawyer or a doctor yet, you know.
Well, you certainly are. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you also showed the movie at the New Beverly in LA.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
mean, to screen
that's
at the
iconic.
Tarantino cinema, yeah, is awesome. I never thought I would ever do that, and it was on 35 as well, so that's also pretty cool.
Yeah, well, as they say at the New Beverly, everything's on 35 there.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to just say thanks for your time. I'm glad that we could get this conversation happening, and thanks for the little bit of behind the scenes of the movie. And I really look forward to what the next chapter is in your career. I'm looking forward to this black and white movie now.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoyed the movie, and yeah, I'm also excited to see what I'm going to do next.
Yeah. Well, Australia.